Joining me on the Hallowed Chambers today is the Deputy Whip of the Senate. He is Senator Onyekachi Nwebonyi. It's good to have you on the program today,
Thank you,
Senator.
my dear sister.
All right, let's begin with the most recent activity, which is the president declined his assent to a bill that seeks to increase the retirement age of, legislative workers, National Assembly workers by 5 years. Although the president did not really give his reasons why, he declined his assent, but what do you think might have inspired his decision?
Well, first and foremost, the staff of National Assembly is not different from other civil servants, within the Federal Civil Service Commission. And we have an age limit upon which one can still stay in service. In some areas is 65, for judges is 70 years. So the request of some of the senior civil servants of the National Assembly to extend their stay in office to me and to so many was abnormal, because that means bending the rules, which is not very good, because by doing that you are going to prevent other young civil servants from growing. So I think that must have formed the reason why Mr. President declined. But for some of us in the Senate, of course, the majority had their way when that thing came before us for voting. People like us said no to it because it's going to hinder the progress and growth of the younger civil servants within the system. So I believe that Mr. President, being a very sensitive man, have seen that extending their stay in office for another 5 years will automatically prevent others from growing up to that rank. So I believe that we should maintain, our rules regarding civil service on the retirement age. We shouldn't play politics with everything, because this has to do with the career of our citizens.
When this bill was first presented to the Senate, there was the rancor about it, like you rightly said, and it was set aside only for the leader of the Senate to bring it back and said all sides have been considered and it's fit for passage, and it passed. So what really happened? Is it that the leader of the Senate did not make his findings correctly, or what exactly happened?
Well, in the parliament, it's all about lobbying. If you have a motion or you have something to get through within the parliament, it's all about lobbying. Probably the lobby and those in support were greater than some of us that opposed it ab initio. And they had their way. But like I said, passing the bill is not making it a law. The president has to assent to it in line with our constitutional provision. And Mr. President have, seen reason with the minority, which is people like us, because we objected to it. So Mr. President have seen reasons with us to agree with our position. And that is why he declined signing that bill into law.
One major argument that was put forward for this 5-year extension was the fact of the preservation of the knowledge and, their experience. How do you now think that, the National Assembly can also take advantage, even when this was declined, but also take advantage of that experience that these people
There are others with the requisite experience. They are not the only set of people that were employed. There are others following them that have learned the job. In fact, a good person should always try to train somebody that will take over from him in everything you do. You can't remain in office as long as you want. No. This is civil service. We have laid down rules for civil service, for promotion, for retirement, when it is due for you to retire. And some of the people involved voluntarily said no, they don't want to continue. They want to give room for other people to grow. And that is the way to go. Because in most cases, we think that the problem of Nigeria rests on the politicians. It's not so. I'm not saying that it is with the civil servants, but both are culpable. Not only the politicians. You can see Nigerians blaming President Tinubu for hunger, for hardship, for food scarcity, but they forgot that our citizens will have a role to play. Will have a role to play. For example, the food scarcity we are facing today is caused by us. If you ask me, I will tell you why. Our morale towards agriculture is low. If you look at statistics, Less than 20% of Nigerians are into agriculture, whereas everybody is supposed to produce what he will eat and his family. Because everybody now depends on the market to buy food in the market. That is why the prices of goods is skyrocketing. But nobody looks at this side of the coin. Everybody is blaming President Tinubu, even when the man is doing everything, working around the clock to correct the anomalies. Nigeria is a great country. Nobody can deny that. We have the resources, we have the land mass, we have the population. What is required is for you as a citizen to do the right thing.
All right. The Senate just confirmed the appointment of the new CJN, substantive CJN Justice Kekere Ekun. What do you think this would mean to the judiciary as an arm of government?
It's a new dawn for the judiciary. Knowing fully well that the person in question is a seasoned lawyer that have risen from ranks, from magistrate to chief magistrate to high court judge. He headed so many tribunals, to court of appeal, to Supreme Court. So it goes without saying that the woman, but in law, there's no woman in law, a man on skate, knows, has all it takes, to lead our courts. And from the scrutiny we did, we can see a very intelligent, very focused, very hardworking woman that will turn things around in our judiciary.
She spoke about, incorporating the use of technology and leveraging technology in, dispensation, the running of the courts and all of that. But she also mentioned the issue of, finance for the judiciary. Do you think by any means this might impede, that proposal?
Well, finance shouldn't be a problem for the Nigerian judiciary, because you agree with me that before now, the judiciary is already autonomous. They are independent. So they get their fund, we appropriate money direct to them. No more through Minister of Justice. So there's no reason not to perform. She has no reason not to perform. If there is any reason, she has to let us know.
Lots of Nigerians seem to have lost trust in Nigeria's judicial system. How do you think that with the new CJN, how would you advise her, to restore trust in Nigeria's judiciary?
Well, it's not correct to say that Nigerians have lost trust on the judiciary. It may be some.
That's what I said, some.
Yeah, some, not all. That is a fallacy of hasty generalization. However, from what I told you here, you see a very intelligent and experienced woman. She has been in that job for a very long time. So she also understands those problems, those areas, they have flaws. And she promised her that she's going to tackle it. One, on a conflicting judgment of court of coordinate jurisdiction. We asked her about that. She said she's going to stop it. On the issue of delaying matters in court, a situation where matters last for 5 years, 10 years, she assured us that it's going to be a thing of the past. She also assured us that judges under her watch will be free and devoid of corruption. And we're very, very optimistic that she will live up to all these promises.
Let's talk about the prevailing hardship Nigerians are currently facing. Well, it's good to have the lawmakers back to work after like a 2 months break. But now that the legislature has resumed, what should we expect? What should Nigerians expect from, lawmakers this time around? Because the Senate President has already said, he will prioritize, the sufferings of Nigerians and ensure that it ease those sufferings. So what should we expect?
Thank you so very much. Well, like you know, constitutionally, our job is to make laws and oversight other arms of government. We have been doing that. Some say that we are a rubber-stamped Senate, but you can see in the course of screening the CJN, you can see how we subjected her to scrutiny to make sure that we have the best for Nigerians. So when Mr. President said that we are committed, the 10th Senate is committed to craft the law to meet the needs of Nigerians, we are going to do that. And we have been doing that. Look at the law we passed during the last session, empowering the executive, to give loan to students. Because you can see some of our students dropping out of school as a result of hardship. Mr. President, being a very responsive and responsible father, woke up and said, no Nigerian child should drop out of school because of his or her inability to pay her fees. And she came up with that bill, which will give speedy attention, and we passed it. As I speak to you, thousands of Nigerian students are already benefiting from that. That is aside. Mr. President has also come up with other measures like reduction of taxes in food importation, all geared towards to meet the needs of Nigerians in line with the advice of the parliament. So we are committed to ensure that Nigerians have the best. All we are saying is that Nigerians should be patient with Mr. President. But as citizens, we have our roles to play. We should play our role. We should stop talking ill of our country. Nigeria is our country. We don't have any other country. We should stop talking ill of the nation.
We'll still come back to that, but we'll take this quick break now. Don't go anywhere. We still have more for you on the program. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Glad to have you back. We have been speaking with the Deputy Whip of the Senate, Senator Onyekachi Nwebonyi. Now, before we went on the break, you spoke about the hike in petroleum, and a lot of people are asking a lot of questions. This prices keeps increasing. What is the role of the GMD or of the NNPC? What role does he have to play? And some have even actually called for, the relief of his duties because they feel he's incompetent. Do you think this is the solution to the problem?
Well, I can say that the group GMD is the problem. It's subject to investigation. The 10th Senate is not keeping quiet because we are very, very sensitive, to the yearnings of Nigerians in that regard. And that is why both chambers, the Senate and the House of Reps, recently set up a joint committee, conference committee, to look at that problem. So I won't say much on that until the committee must have done their job. But one thing is pertinent. A place where one person enjoys monopoly, of course, is bound to, hold the customers at ransom. But now that Dangote refinery is on board, and we're looking forward to have the Port Harcourt refinery fixed, we're also looking forward to have Kaduna refinery fixed. We believe that when these 4 refineries are working, definitely the prices of PMS will come down. So we need to be patient. It's not going to be permanent. It's just a question of time. But we must commend President Tinubu because under him, Nigeria can boast of a private refinery in the with Dangote refinery. No other person did it. It is APC government that did it, starting from President Buhari, now to Tinubu. No other government has ever tried it. So it is our credit and we must take it.
All right. Another issue is the hike in electricity tariff, which Nigerians are daily groaning about this hike. And, the Senate has also promised to intervene. Several times we've seen the issue come up, resolutions are made. What is the position of the Senate as it stands? Because there's nothing really being said about that matter. Yes,
that is another problem that we cannot deny. But I assure you, upon our resumption now, we're going to revisit that, that motion. Remember, people like us have, spoken now that is the height of insensitivity to increase electricity tariff in the mix of what Nigerians are passing through. That is the truth, and nobody can deny it. So we are going to look at that to make sure that it is reversed.
All right. In a few weeks, Nigeria will celebrate another independence. How has the country advanced in your own conversation in nationhood? How do you think the country has advanced?
Well, it goes without saying that our position today is not our position in 1960. We've advanced in all ramifications, politically, socially, infrastructurally, even in human capital development. Facts speak for itself. So as a nation, I think we have every cause to celebrate. Moreover, we are a democratic nation. It is something we should celebrate. You can see what is happening in other ECOWAS countries where the military are taking over, but that is not the case in Nigeria. So we believe that democracy have come to stay in Nigeria and it will thrive. And I assure Nigerians that APC-led federal government, before 2027, will give Nigerians reason why they should be singing APC. Down to their words.
That is very confident of you. Well, the issue of insecurity still remains on the front burner, and we have seen several places in the country that are still being ravaged by insecurity. Yes. Why is this problem still persistent despite the huge amount of money being pumped into that particular, problem, but it's as if it's still increasing.
Well, I will agree with you that the problem is still there, but the truth is that the present government have actually done something in that respect, to a point that what we are seeing today is just pocket of attacks, by the bandits, the Boko Haram, and what have you, unlike what we had years back. So, and I believe that with what we have done, with the military, I won't tell you here, with the meetings we've been having with the military and the police, they keep assuring us that they will eradicate that problem out of this country, because that problem is man-made.
All right. And with the economic reforms that, the government is constantly implementing, do you think that it's starting to yield results?
Of course. It's yielding results.
In what areas?
Well, in so many areas. Like I've told you that Mr. President have just, reduced taxes on food importation. Those are part of the reforms. And those in that line of business can attest to it. Recently, a report was presented to Mr. President on the Ministry of Livestock Development. This is aimed at nibbling from the board this problem of farmers and herders clash that have claimed so many lives, particularly in Benue State and in other states of the northern Nigeria, even in the southeast. So that tells you that Mr. President is actually looking down well, to solve these nagging problems. And I assure you, in no time, all these policies of his will come to limelight.
Coming down to your own constituency, what kind of interventions have your people seen in terms of, easing their sufferings and also your representation of them in the Senate?
Honestly, I've done much without blowing my trumpet, but I can tell you I've done much. 6 months in office, that was 7th January 2024. I had my Thanksgiving in my village. I empowered over 100 youths with motorcycles, with vehicles, financial grants to start up business. 2 months later, I also came on board to empower the farmers with farm inputs, ranging from rice seedlings, to fertilizer, to herbicides. And as I speak to you, the testimonies are everywhere. The farmers are rejoicing. I gave them good, rice seedlings, and I must tell you, they are very, very happy. I didn't stop at that. 2 months later, I also came up with food palliative, which I distributed to over 10,000 households within, Nwebonyi senatorial zone. That is a part. Now come to capital project. As I speak to you, I'm executing 10 kilometers of concrete roads, spread across the 4 local government areas that make up Nwebonyi senatorial zone. And all these roads are being littered with street lights. And my people are saying that they have never seen a senator that have attracted this type of capital project. Now, the mother of all projects is the road connecting Nwebonyi, Benue, Kogi, Nasarawa to Abuja. I raised that motion, and by the special grace of God, Mr. President heard my cry and incorporated that road in this year's budget. And as I speak to you, very soon that road will be flagged off. When this road is done, connecting Nwebonyi State to Benue State, which is food basket of the nation, to Kogi State, down to Abuja, that will tell you that it will increase economic activities within that corridor, and the overall, economic growth will guarantee the economic growth of our country, Nigeria. So these are things I have done. Outside that, I've also floated 50 million naira, scholarship fund to indigent students within my zone, capturing students doing professional courses like law, medicine, med lab, engineering, and what have you. And I keep emphasizing that our students should go professional this time around, so that when you come out of the university, you can be employable.
That's our program today. Do not forget to watch a repeat broadcast on Sunday at 7 a.m. Also, you can see this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel. Please share, like, and comment. Thank you for watching. I am Tijesu Adewi. See you next time.